All right, hello
You're-
and welcome. How is everyone doing on what I hope is a fantastic Monday, January the 27th, 2025? I have no idea if you can hear me or not, and I don't believe Shy. I just see Shy said no audio. I don't believe you, Shy. Shy said no audio. Nope, I just
Hello,
checked.
hello,
I
hello.
I got audio. I got
Well, I
green
can
tea.
hear you, Matthew.
So we're doing good. Yeah. So it's funny because right before. Yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Brainy Specs. I know there's at least one person in this chat I can trust for now.
For now.
Hey, people hang out with us long enough, and something weird happens. You just can't trust them anymore.
Well, yeah, you have a point, Matthew.
It's like I'm a bad influence on people. It's weird.
I don't know. It might be Thomas that is the bad influence, if you ask me. Hello,
No,
Texas. Welcome,
I mean,
positive.
his name. People from Texas just can't
Oh,
trust
wait a
them.
minute. I'm currently from Texas, but not originally.
My dad used to love to sing the song that all his exes came from Texas.
Hmm.
Or live in Texas. That's why he made his home in Tennessee. He lived in Texas, but he was from Tennessee. He loved it. But no, just before the stream started, I joined on with Jeff, and it actually like he couldn't hear me. The StreamYard had changed my audio device again.
Oh, sure. Blame StreamYard.
Oh, I will. I will. Oh, well, okay. I'll half blame StreamYard because for some reason Voice is saying I'm not registered anymore. Like I paid for an official copy of Voice
Oh,
and
I've heard of that problem
it's just like,
with
no.
voice meter.
I mean, technically, I can do something called regenning it.
Hmm.
I have several the regen license left, but I don't want to waste a regen license. Like, this is the computer I use it on.
Exactly. You shouldn't have to do that.
Okay, Gorilla's censored thoughts. Uh, my sons were talking about a bamboo farm. This is a Minecraft thing, right? Or do you literally have a bamboo farm in real life? Have I
I
figured
don't
out the
know.
pun in your moniker? X's. Oh, the Anul Shook. That's someone from. I almost said Farscape. It's gonna be that sort of day, people. It's someone from Babylon 5, right? We've met them
Yeah.
once now.
Yes, it is from Babylon 5.
Yeah,
And I thought I told you.
I'm sure you did. Problem is, do I remember? I'm sure I don't. Uh,
What do you
I
think,
should
everyone?
remember.
Should I tell him again?
Uh, so Gorilla is saying that bamboo doesn't grow negative 20 degrees. They built an auto bamboo farm and the thing keeps getting stuck. Okay, so yeah, it's a Minecraft thing, right?
I have no idea. I'm not a Minecraft person. Sorry, Thomas.
See, I was trying to be a Minecraft person with my son and do the race with him on Saturdays. That just died. Uh, he thought it was more fun to play with his friends than me. And
Oh, oh, wow.
can I even remember what I predicted for this episode? No, but that's why Jeff is here. Because of the two of us, I'm obviously not the responsible party.
Oh, okay. So it's more than just putting down what you predicted for the episode. It's because I'm responsible.
Oh, so responsible. I clearly need someone responsible to hang out with me on these streams. Like I think we're all aware that I am not responsible.
That's why you had John doing Sequest with you, right?
Exactly.
Because he's the responsible party. Gotcha.
Exactly. So someone has to keep this thing on track.
It's not easy, folks. It's not easy.
You've heard the saying, as hard as herding gnats.
I think I have. So it's Professor Sebastian for Matthew not streaming last week.
Oh no,
So it's Professor Sebastian for Matthew not streaming.
he's trying to
Are
blame
you?
you for me not streaming.
I see. That's what I thought he was saying.
No, it was me. So there's this thing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, but hey, you heard it. It works. Nice.
I did hear it.
That means I actually have the audio slightly working.
It's amazing.
Pat my back a little bit there. No, so thank you, Paramount, for your kind donation. Please, we are begging you to watch the #1 streaming movie in the country. Section 31 is full of excitement, laughter, on the edge of your seat drama, and the stakes are bigger than ever before. Tell all your friends. So it's amazing.
I refuse to watch it.
But none of the things you just said was correct. To quote to quote a better Star Trek franchise, excuse me, to quote a better Star Trek franchise, The Last Jedi. I said what I said. You heard what I said.
I heard what you said. I don't believe what I heard, but I heard what you said.
No, okay, so section 31. Yeah, you heard me. I'm saying that the last Jedi was a better entry for Star Trek than Section 31 was. That's how bad Section 31 was.
You actually watched it.
I actually watched it. So so here's the thing. Every Star Trek entity that comes out, I'm such a fan of Star Trek that I will give it a fair shot. Even though at this point I am well aware of the quality of content we get from what are they? Secret Bad Robot, Secret Hideout?
Secret Hideout.
And so I know what I'm getting into, but I'm like, I'm going to give this a shot. It's exactly the same as every other installation from Star Trek we've gotten since STD. And what I mean by that is, like, let me just strip away any politics stuff. Let me strip away any of my own opinions in general, just on a 100% story writing 101. They don't know how to do it. If you look at every single entry, and I include season 3 of Star Trek Picard on this, like it or love it, it suffers from this writing problem. They start off with an issue. Ooh, what's going on? There's some mystery. By the 3rd episode, they've solved the issue and they don't know what to do. And so they up the stake. And so now it's not just like, oh, here's one tiny thing going on. No, now the entire universe is in peril. And then that becomes the plot for the back half of the season. But if you actually stop to think about it, the way we got to that plot only makes sense if you knew the twist at the end of the series, that if at the beginning of the series you knew the twist that happens at the end of the series. So Star Trek Picard season 3, you had the Borg Queen and she's there in Nebula. And then you had the people who were allied with her, or no, they weren't allied with her. That was the whole problem. They just somehow knew she was there, even though they at no point knew she was there. But the only reason for them to be operating the way they were operating by getting, was it the Borg nanoprobes and trying to infect everyone in Starfleet with them so that everyone was...
They used the transporter system to infect young officers with nanoprobes or something.
Yeah, the only way that makes sense is for, at the very beginning, them to know that, but they don't know that. But by the time you get to the end of the season, you've forgotten that they didn't know that at the beginning. So the whole the whole reason for them going makes no sense. So in section 31, spoilers. So here, I'm going to raise my hand. If you don't want it spoiled, just wait for this hand to go down, okay? I'm giving you a second to turn off your volume, to mute it. You don't want it spoiled? Here we go. The whole big thing that happens is that there's a bomb that can destroy the quadrant, the entire quadrant of our universe. It exists in the Empress's mirror universe. They bring it to our universe to sell it to the current emperor of the mirror universe so that he can go to the mirror universe so he can come back to our universe and use it.
Okay. Boy, that's convoluted.
It really is. And so, but then, and then they're like, well, it was somehow locked to the Empress's DNA so that if she died, it automatically went off. Or, oops, it also automatically goes off if it gets slightly jostled and lands on the ground. And then
Okay.
it actually detonates in the middle, like there's a corridor between the two galaxies. So instead of either galaxy being destroyed, it just closes just at one portal. So it's powerful enough to destroy an entire quadrant of the galaxy or a tiny little corridor connecting both galaxies. So it makes no sense. So hand down. There you go. I'm done with my spoilers. It made no sense. It was bad writing. And it was
agrees.
just... Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a bad fan story from when I was 5 years old. Yeah, probably. Yeah, if you're gonna make something stupid, it should at least be fun. And this isn't a spoiler. It's not a spoiler, but it's one of the tropes where you start off with a ragtag team of expendables, and by the end of the movie, they all care for each other and they've grown and bonded. They do that trope, except they forgot to include any bonding. It was just all of a sudden they're like, we love each other and we're best friends forever. And it's like, why though? But why?
They don't earn it.
They don't even try to. And I will say this.
That's another problem with the writing, the current writing. They don't make characters earn things.
Things just happen.
Yep.
What's the Douglas Adams quote? For why things happen in the universe is something like, things just happen. What the heck?
Well, that works in Hitchhikers.
It does, because it's a satire. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was rough. I'll say this in its defense. The best defense I have for it is that I think at some point it was supposed to be their standard 8-episode long season.
Well, they were going to make a series.
Yeah. And it's clear that's what they were going for in this. But the reason it's clear that's what they're going for in this is because it's obvious that there's a lot of content that's missing. And
it
because
got smooshed down to an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, hour 30.
Hour 30.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah, this was 100% a 2-episode long TV movie. Which we were talking about in Discord, right? I think I saw y'all mentioning the true first Star Trek made for TV events.
Yes. I claim it's Farpoint Encounter because that was a 2-hour movie.
What's the name of that episode?
Farpoint and Encounter.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I'm sure you're not.
Do you mean Encounter at Farpoint? I'm pretty sure that's what I.
Well, I think it also is known as Encounter at Farpoint, but
Weird. Okay, well, sometimes people make up their own names. I don't know.
You would not know anything about that, would you, Matthew?
No. Yeah. Oh, okay. Farpoint Encounter. Best of both. No. Yeah.
The only other No, that was 2 separate episodes because we had that 2-month wait for the second part.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And everybody was going crazy waiting for it.
Yeah. Okay. So you're not
What's
just
going to
talking
happen? Is Picard going to die? Is the Federation going to be doomed?
And the Borg. I mean, the last time we saw the Borg was with Q, and it took Picard basically groveling, laying down his pride to get them out of that situation.
Right. But that wasn't a TV movie event either.
Yeah. So I see what you mean. I thought you just meant any 2-part episode in Trek.
No.
So
a 2-hour film, basically. Now they did split up Farpoint and Encounter into 2 episodes for syndication.
Did they do All Good Things back to back?
Well, it was also a 2-hour episode.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't back to back.
Okay.
It was just one continuous story.
But they split it across 2 weeks.
No, it aired in one night.
Oh, wow.
Originally. But then they split it up for syndication.
Yeah. And yeah, Texas, this was definitely a movie that an entire series was compressed into under 2 hours.
Omni is correct. Emissary, The Way of the Warrior, Tear Caker.
Now, is that a play on words? Because I don't think that was its name, was it?
Well, I think it's also known as Caretaker.
I think I may be familiar with that one.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe. There were some others as well. What You Leave Behind.
Okay.
DS9.
The finale.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Sorry, now I'm watching it in my head. Tell you what, how about we actually watch this week's episode? Not in my head, but in reality.
Omni's correct. I should have said Kai, What You Leave Behind.
Why Kai?
You'll have to ask you have to ask Cinnabon.
Okay. But he's not here. I haven't seen Cinnabon.
Well, I don't know. He's on your Discord server, so
he is.
You can ask him there.
And he comes on Jep Nerdy, does he not?
He does. He was on Jep Nerdy yesterday, in fact.
So maybe someone should actually. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Lewis, for your donation. He says, "Let's go already. I'm curious if Dolores and Buster are in tonight's episode." So
Buster.
I did just yes, Buster, not Bester. I don't
Buster.
know who would get that name wrong.
I don't know.
But he certainly didn't forget his prediction for this week, I'm sure.
Buster didn't?
The person who got Buster's name wrong.
Oh. Well, the prediction was that it was going to be a Psy-Corps plot line. It was going to be Talia focused. It's going to continue with her distrust of the Psy-Corps. Maybe we'll see Bester in this episode. Maybe not. Is she going to continue following the path of the Psy-Corps, or will she go against them to help the others on the station? And Keffer will save the day.
There we go. Keffer will save the day. That's why his name is in the credits.
And
Cinnabon's here.
Cinnabon's here.
Okay, so Cinnabon, while I'm going to switch this over here, why is it Kai, What You Leave Behind? So while I'm waiting for Cinnabon to answer that, you will notice I have pinned a link up there in the comments. By all means, click on that if you can, and that will take you to the screening room. That will sync up all of our watch time so that hopefully we're within a second or two of what's going on, and hopefully I'm on track and not going off on a bunny trail, being distracted by whatever has popped into my mind at that moment.
Now, you did see... Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I'll let you finish.
I would say, if you can't join us here, we got clips for you right there. There's going to be no audio. Please let there be no audio. There's going to be no audio. It's just one clip every 7 to 9 seconds, randomly grabs a clip and shows just that image so that you have a reference from what's going on. And as always, guys, if you're here in the future and you want to watch the full video, you need your own copy of it. That means you can go on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free. You can go to Hulu. No, not Hulu. Something
Roku.
Similar. Roku. I don't know why I get them mixed up. This ooze. Roku.
Right.
Or
Roku TV.
Tubi TV. Any of those options, you can watch it. Now, if you want to buy it, you can buy it digitally. It's on Google Play, and it's on YouTube, which is Google Play, and it's on all that good stuff, Apple's stuff. Or, as Jeff was just showing off, best option, go buy the physical media. I wish I was sponsored and was being a shield, but the honest truth is I believe in that much. Physical media reigns supreme. Now, Jeff, you were about to say something.
Now, you saw the TV guide listing for this, did you not?
I did, but I have slept a lot since then.
Okay, so the TV guide listing, which you can see on Matthew's Discord. If you are not joined, go ahead and join. I think there's a link for it down in your description, isn't there?
Yep, there should be.
So you can see this on the San Antonio 9 channel on Matthew's Discord. But the TV guide listing is Jakar's loyalties with his human allies on the station and with his own people are tested when he learns the Narn military plan to assassinate an Earth senator and fabricate evidence implicating the Centauri to trick Earth into entering the war. Keffer takes a remedial flight course after forgetting to use his turn signal at a jump gate.
There is so much going on in that TV guide listing. You had
all I can say is shame on you, Paramount. Shame on you.
Yeah, Voyager stole that plot line with the remedial pilot course.
Yeah,
with
true.
Tom Paris.
That's right.
Wow, so much going on. So let's go ahead and get this going. I'll give anyone here in the future a quick 3 countdown so that we can sync up our watch times together, and hopefully I got everything going right. So let's find out. 3, 2, 1, hit that play button, everyone. And hopefully, oh so hopefully, no one hears, and hopefully, any music right now. Hopefully, no one hears.
At least on the YouTube stream.
Oh so hopefully. Yeah, okay, so I'm not hearing anything on YouTube. We're good. Now, one of the things I was thinking about after my prediction is very rarely does Babylon 5 do just like a one plot line only sort of thing. And I realized with the name Divided Loyalties, there are so many different plot lines they have with people who potentially would have divided loyalties. You have Dolores here. She has very much divided loyalties right now. That's been kind of a theme of this season.
And kind of you see this in this scene.
Yeah, she has a human newspaper.
And it's interesting, they still have newspapers.
Yes.
In the 23rd century.
So are they recycling yesterday's newspaper?
Yep.
Okay, to get today's. I do like that. So Sinclair is hovering. He wants to know.
Minbari.
Okay, so he was hovering. He wanted to know what she wanted in her newspaper, and she was telling him off politely, like, "Hey, though you may be curious, please move along." And then it turned out that what she likes in her newspaper is the Ion Minbari columns. She likes to know what humans are thinking about the Minbari. Not
and
Sinclair?
She hears things. She hears things about her own culture that she isn't getting from her own people through the newspaper.
Sheridan. Yeah, Omni, I said Sinclair. Sheridan. So yeah, I mean, so many different divided loyalties. You have Dolores. You have. I can only think Sheridan. Between the people here on Babylon 5, and we've seen a couple times his contact in the military. You have Talia, Same kind of thing between the people in Babylon 5 that she's becoming close with and the Psi Core. You have Jakar even. We've kind of focused a bit on him, how he too is having some divided loyalties.
I think we're starting to see that with Londo.
True. Very true. Londo definitely has some divided loyalties. Just 2 weeks ago with the Knives episode.
Yes.
I shouldn't say 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was a different episode. I'm a week behind. 3 weeks ago, the Knives episode.
Now, I don't know if you noticed in that scene on Mars,
Mm-hmm.
we saw a ranger.
I didn't recognize him as such.
You can tell by the outfit. And Trevelorn just said it. I think I just saw an Animal Shock.
AKA the pun in Texas's name, the Texas Rangers.
Indeed. Indeed.
Which are more than a baseball team, if anyone wasn't aware. Actual group of officers of the law, peacekeepers, if you will.
Animal Shock is the Mimbari name for ranger.
Which is a nice nod to the fact that this is a co-op between humanity and the Mbari.
Yep.
Okay, the guest star name they just said there, Patricia. We've seen her before.
Patricia Tallman as Lita Alexander. She was in the pilot episode.
Is she the same character in this episode?
Yes.
Yeah, and she does stunts as well.
She did a lot of stunt work on Star Trek.
And so Sheridan has been going on about trees. I miss trees, majestic things, roots deep into the earth. He was just kind of pontificating, killing time to make sure that they were clear in the bathroom so that they could talk freely. Which, I mean, of all the places you're going to bug, I feel sorry for the person who has to listen to the recordings from a bathroom bug. And yeah, Thomas, Rom's wife, just one more thing Babylon 5 stole. Or Deep Space Nine
Yes,
stole.
nine.
And so here we see exactly what I was talking about. That great line from Ivanova. They were talking about how it's so nice they're doing this. It took 2 years, and Ivana goes, "Well, if you just realized I was right, we could have done this a lot sooner."
Asafanova.
So Talia's so Talia was saying that there's a problem with her quarters. There's something with the air recycling system. And Ivanova invites her to come stay in her place until it's fixed. But it also raises the question, is there really a problem? Like, as soon as I hear that, I think Psy-Corps, espionage group, like what if someone's working on the air ducts to plant listening devices or something?
Interesting thought.
I mean, it could be nothing more than just a setup for us to get, an odd couple situation.
Yes, Omni. That was Corwin.
Is that Lita?
No.
No. So Garibaldi should recognize her. I don't remember. I don't remember who Lita was from the pilot. He's gonna help me. Hold on.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Yes, she was the first telepath assigned to Babylon 5 2 years ago.
Commercial telepath.
Commercial telepath.
At least you're not saying psychic.
But she is.
Well,
Okay, so wow, I'd forgotten all this stuff. Okay, so they were explaining how uh, she was trying to read Kash's mind to figure out who had shot him when he first came
yes.
aboard the station, and
Who
she
had poisoned him?
poisoned him. Yes,
Yes.
and then now they're kind of giving some in-universe reason for why they've been gone. That she and the doctor who worked on Kosh were recalled to Earth just a few weeks after this incident happened.
Well, no one had seen a Vorlon before. The inside the encounter suit.
She got tired from working in Quark's bar. She must go back at some point. Decide she had a thing for Rom.
Wait, she doesn't look like Lita from DS9.
Very curious. Maybe she got some work done. Cosmetic surgery, hide the ridges. Wants to fit in.
Maybe.
But Lita's explaining that she doesn't want to talk to anyone until she sees Sheridan because she knows for a fact there's a traitor on the station and she can prove it. Which, okay, so me just talking out loud here as I do, with Lita showing back up, I can't help but wonder if Talia's about to disappear. If they're, because they want a psychic, they want a telepath.
I jinxed it.
You did. I got it once. They want a telepath aboard the station, and I wonder if the actress who's playing Talia is leaving maybe at the end of the season, and they're coming up with an in-universe reason to bring back a telepath that we're familiar with to keep the plot lines going.
Well, I think it would be tough for her to stay on the station if she's on the run from Psy-Corps.
True. I mean, she could just be here for a one-off, but I could also see her becoming. I could see this being a reintroduction to the character to keep her here permanently. And she's explained that she was, Omni. She was with the Free Mars movement. That she had to pay her own way, and everyone's always looking for a good telepath. Did I not hear where Lita's trying to go? I did not. Not Babylon 5.
She's drawn to the Vorlon homeworld, where no one has gone and come back from.
Oh. Okay, so is a password peekaboo? It has to be sent telepathically, Omni. I don't know. But so she was explaining how the way the Psy-Corps plants deep agents, and It's a technique the Psychor uses where they construct an entire personality, and that operative works. It's so deep that like even deep scans of other telepaths can't sense it. Uh, and not it's not until a password is sent telepathically, it can't be spoken, it has to be telepathic, that allows that original true personality to come back and the fake personality to be destroyed. And she's saying that she's going to show who the traitor is by sending the password. She's not going to invade anyone's privacy. She's just going to send the password telepathically and see what happens. And she's explained that the implanted personality is programmed for self-preservation. And poor Elita, she's being sent to jail.
Protective custody, I would say.
And of course, Ivanova, absolutely not. She is not going to let some telepath send her something in her some thought.
We know how she feels about telepaths and the Psychor.
So Dolores has come and she wants to set up a time with Sheridan, hopefully tomorrow, to talk about food shipments on their ongoing peace efforts or humanitarian aid efforts with the Narn. Sheridan, he's upset and he's like, "Why is it that every time you think you got things straight and life calms down, life just seems to kick you in the butt?"
But what?
And Dolores is like, "What is a what? But what? What is but?" Uh, and Sheridan, he goes, "Man, there's some gaps in your vocabulary." And so now she's trying out all the different forms. She goes, "I but, you but, he or she buts." Abso-fraggin-lutely.
Matthew. Wow.
That's where they start. I thought that was first started with a little handhold.
Oh.
But no, I thought the frag was first started with that other series I've never watched, the modern remake.
Battlestar.
That's the one.
That's frack.
I was close. I was Matthew close.
You're that close.
Yeah, I was extra, man. Like that was one letter off. So come on. I mean, if I can mix up Roku and Hulu, I think
yeah, point.
frack and frag. That's pretty close.
Yeah, I suppose. A little spring in her step there.
He certainly seems uplifted.
Does.
Yeah, Texas. Dolores is acting like a schoolgirl with a crush. Which, I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of human emotions she probably hasn't Like, there's got to be some hormonal differences between Mbari and humans. Like, I could see her reacting a bit to the newness of the situation.
Well, she did mention cramps to
That's true.
Ivanova.
So it's interesting. They're very concerned about letting Lita send this thought.
Oh, it's a privacy thing. Psycor has strict rules about it.
And Ivanova's, upset about something.
Well, she's upset about this password thing being sent to her.
Now, it's interesting. I don't think Talia is aware of this yet.
No.
So or Ivanova is asking Talia if she's aware of Lita. Careful what you say, Ivanova. And so uh, Ivanova is asking, do you know Lita? Do you think she's someone you could trust? And Talia's saying, yeah, I mean, look, it was a long time ago. I mean, she was young, but she was sweet. And so she's explained that originally she went to be a psychop, but she didn't like it. And when she realized she didn't like it, she switched over to becoming a commercial telepath.
I don't know if she could have been a psychop. She might have been working for the psychops in some lesser capacity, but you need to be a P10, which she is not.
Okay.
P12. Thank you, Omni.
Oh yeah, the Night Watch.
Night Watch, still around.
And so the guy is saying, yeah, he's still working for them. It's easy money. So we can see that at this.
Okay. Garibaldi isn't happy about it.
Yeah, but we see at this point at least he is not someone who is, he's not someone who's like persuaded by their agenda. He's just about the money, and Ivanova wakes up looking for someone. But
that's why woke up. That was Talia.
Sorry, Talia. And so these guys claim that they're going to transfer to a better facility. But okay, wow, they're actually being honest. I thought maybe they were going to be like under the influence of mind control. But no, it seemed like they were honestly just transferring her to a better facility so she could sleep.
Well, Garibaldi asked Zach to have her transferred. So
yeah, Texas, I suspect everyone. And yeah, Josh, Black Gloves is a classic Psycor thing. but that could just be a red herring. Now, it was interesting that Talia was reaching out looking for Ivanova. I wouldn't have thought they were sleeping so cozily
Hmm.
together. And so Sheridan is saying that after this latest incident, he's leaning toward letting her do a telepathic probe. And Ivanova is adamantly against this.
Thomas, you are very fixated.
Roberts is suspecting the macabre. Uh, they gone. Right?
Oh, Lamati.
Do we know them?
Yes, Ivanova did a little dance for their
Oh. Yes.
their ambassador.
And Dolores has like the opposite of Matthew memory. She knows that person's name even though they met barely 2 years ago. Yeah, Texas. I'm not sure if Dolores is aware of how they conclude negotiations.
She might be. That might be why she was considering not having um, better relations with them, so to speak.
And Talia is saying that her quarters have been cleared and she can go back to him, so she just needs to grab her things. This would be
This is
such a
about.
different conversation if they made this episode today.
I think so. And this was about the time of the assassination attempt. Ivanova was gone.
It's true. And so Ivanova is confessing that her secrets might really come back to haunt her. Uh, that she's like, how do you tell someone that you've been lying to them for years? Which brings to memory a vision about her we saw earlier this season.
We did, yes.
Two different visions actually. There's one where uh, I think one was last season where she saw her mom commenting that this is the only way out, and then she was her mom, and the
That's true.
vision. And then we saw another one where Garibaldi had a dove on his shoulder and she had a crow on hers.
And she asked, "Do you know who I am?" Or something to that effect.
Yeah, Robert Keffer will find the mole. It's going to turn out that he's a telepath as well, a P50,000. He's not
So
even really
powerful that he
there.
can't be around too often.
Exactly. It's just a mental
Yeah.
projection. But no, so Lita went to Dolores and is trying to arrange a meetup with everyone. She wants to meet with them, not willing to do it alone. She's only going to come provided everyone is there together.
Welcome, Darren.
Hey, how you doing, Darren? And so Ivanova is seeming to try to confess. And she's saying she can't have Lita or any other telepath in her mind ever. And it's probably because she's a telepath. Which is a prediction I made during that first vision we got. I really should, Darren. And so, yep, she's saying that she learned how to keep her mom out. That her mom is a telepath. Uh, she could sense when her mom would slip into her mind, and she learned to keep her mom out. And then she went one step further, and she learned how to touch her mom's mind. And Sheridan is saying, "Oh, why didn't you tell me this before?" Which, I mean, come on, Sheridan, have a little bit of presence of mind here. I mean, there's a big difference to, someone coming out and being like, "I've been lying to you for years. I'm a vegan," and someone coming out and being like, "Hey, I've been lying to you for years. I'm a telepath, and if anyone ever found out, I'd have to be mentally castrated or forced to join the Psi Corps." Like, pretty big differences.
A little bit.
And she's saying she's probably not even a P1. She couldn't ever read anyone's mind except her mother's. She can pick up on feelings sometimes, but that's enough for the Psi Corps. So she's saying, "How can you trust her?" And Sheridan says, "I don't, but Garibaldi believes her." And Ivana goes, "Ugh, Garibaldi doesn't trust anyone." And she's saying, with all this nonsense lately, some days she doesn't even know who she is anymore, which prompts a flashback to the vision. And saying, "Do you know who I am?" with the crow on her shoulder.
So, second flashback we've had this episode.
Yes, Chom is still better than Troy.
Now.
And so now Perot has called everyone together to reveal who the murderer is. It was in the dining room with the candlestick, whoever did it. And they drawn this out. Like, I get that it's a psychic scan, but all it is it, her sending a thought, not actually reading anything in your mind. So this should be a no-brainer to let her do this. And so she starts with Sheridan, nothing. And so one by one, we're gonna go through and. Sorry, Thomas, it wasn't Franklin.
Fixated.
And just be safe, which I think is a nice touch here. Garibaldi hands over his weapon. Garibaldi. Boo. He puts on a
Which I
show.
think was stupid that he did that.
And so he,
Oh, there's Corwin again.
yeah, it is very Garibaldi, Texas. Yeah, and Corn's doing a fine job. So they're just one by one going through the crew. Zach, thank you for coming. That'll be all. I didn't want it to be Zach. I like his character being here, and I like what they're doing with him, and I want to see him get deeper into the Night Watch. Now we gotta do a montage.
Hmm.
Is that one of the Babylon station models? Like Babylon 5?
It is. Okay, Omni. Night Watch is a very good organization. I don't think so, Omni.
But they still haven't done Talia. So they've been at it so long, everyone's getting exhausted, and Garibaldi is pointing out that they have over 5,000 people on staff. And so, I mean, Lita's pointing out that in order to protect itself, the implanted personality would do and say anything. And a sob story about, what happened to your mom. I mean, that would be a pretty solid alibi. But at the same time, like we met her dad. Like that'd be a true commitment to have a fake dad, or to also implant the dad. And so Lita tries, but Talia blocks her.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Ivanova.
Ivanova blocks her. But she gets through, and uh, she's clean.
Hmm.
And it was Talia.
It was Talia.
Dun dun dun. And say the Core's mother, the Core's father, you're dead, Lita Alexander. The Core will find you. And Garibaldi upset. Which really, uh, so they're saying, how much does she know about our operation? She knows about the Underground Railroad. Yeah, Garibaldi loses his elevator friend. But so it really makes me think about the scene where she took off the pendant and set it down, and they focus in on that, like such that the Psy Corps was hovering over the conversation between Talia and Ivanova. And so I didn't realize they had invited Talia in at this point.
They mentioned it at the beginning of the episode in the restroom.
I was too distracted by the tree conversation. And so now Garibaldi's having a series of flashbacks.
The VCR.
But so it's
Yes, Texas. We'll talk about that in a bit.
so it's interesting because with Ironsides,
Ironheart.
Ironheart, yeah, they they had really been setting things up uh, for her to be an operative against the Psi Corps. Which I mean, if this was always the plan, well done. And so she's saying that you don't know what it was like to be trapped inside your own mind, only able to come out at nighttime when she was asleep.
Josh Street, I'm not sure what show she was offered, but she was not happy with the amount of attention her character was getting on Babylon 5. I think it's interesting she uses the phrase good and dear friend. That's what Londo says a lot.
Hmm. Lolita is meeting up with Kosh and saying, I'm back, but I can't stay. Which I'm going to disagree with. I bet she sticks around. And she's saying, I never told them. I tucked the secrets away in the teeniest, darkest corner of my mind. They could have killed me, and I still never would have told them. And sometimes she'd open up that door to the corner of her mind where she hid him and listen to him sing her to sleep. And she's saying she wants to see him again just one more time before she goes. And Kosh actually agrees, apparently. And that's it.
That's it.
I thought for sure we had one more one more scene up here.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't realize we'd watched the full episode. I didn't think that
we
much time had
have
gone.
no missing scenes in this episode on various streaming services.
So Jeff, what were your thoughts?
Very powerful episode. Um, Major developments with Talia, of course. We get Lita back, which I think was excellent. She's a great actress, I think. And we get some lore here. And we find out who Control was from Bureau 13, if you remember Bureau 13.
There was like one quick scene with it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a few episodes back where we got the Bureau 13, and you were so aghast that Paramount had used the 13 and just swapped it
Yeah.
for 31.
I mean, yes, I was. I'm still aghast. They literally shadow organization operating behind the scenes. Yes.
Now, apparently, they couldn't use Bureau 13, or JMS didn't want to use Bureau 13 after that because there was a game that had that name, and he didn't want any conflict, so he stopped using it, and it became Control. She was Control on the station.
I actually found a video of gameplay for Bureau 13.
There you go.
Great. Not great.
There you go. Not great.
From what I saw, it was one of the classic games where if you didn't have the manual, you had no idea what was going on. If you did have the manual, it was still hit or miss if you could make anything happen. Actually, no, wait. I think it was a weird one. I want to say it was a detective. He had to solve some sort of mystery, but just to get past the first screen, it was more like an escape room than a video game. But they didn't design it to be an escape room, so not a fun experience.
Okay. I want to save some comments until after you give your impression of the episode, because there's some background information that I want to go into about the series itself that I can finally say for your benefit.
Yeah, I've been seeing something going on in chat. I've been ignoring it, but I've read enough to confirm my suspicions that it seems like Talia, the actress, wanted to lead the episode, lead the series.
She did.
So I'm feeling more and more confident that Lita will be back. And in fact, I'm going to make a prediction that we're going to see more of Lita. I don't know if we're going to see her right away, but I bet by at least by the beginning of season 3, I bet we see more of her. I could see her coming on as a regular at that point. So beyond that, thoughts about this episode. This was definitely another one of those very big pivotal episodes in terms of character changes. So in terms of just what's going on in the universe in general, I don't feel like too terribly much happened. That's not to say nothing happened. I just don't feel like a huge amount of things happened. The big thing about this was a transition between a character and giving them a good reason for exiting the series instead of just having them be eaten by a tar monster, for example.
Oh, no show would do that, would they?
No. That'd be such a trek from the norm. I could not imagine anyone starring in a series and being written off in that manner. Yeah, Thomas Kiefer, he was the one bringing everyone into the room. You didn't get to see him, but he was there.
Welcome, John.
So, gosh, I think they did a good job writing off Talia. The fact that so it is hard because there is so much work being done that John Michael JMS he is working very hard
J. Michael Straczynski.
Yeah, I got to the last name. I said, "There's no way I'm getting this right," and just went back to S. So he's doing so much work of trying to build up the characters over time. So it is a little incongruous that you build up this stuff with Ironheart, and you build up this stuff with her helping the Underground Railroad of telepaths. But with that said, if you're gonna write off a character and you're not just gonna them, having it be that your telepath was a sleeper agent for the very organization it seemed like she was fighting against, I think that was well done. Um,
Oh, I agree.
it's rough because I want to see more where her storyline was going, and they did such a good job getting me invested in her character that, like everyone else, I'm like, it makes no sense for this to happen. Like I can't believe, and it's hard to accept that this happened, uh, because she was being so pivotal against the Psi Corps. And she had been given the gift from Ironsides where she was able to keep them out. Like this was a big deal that even Buster would not would not be able to keep or be able to get into get into her mind. Not even Buster could get into her mind. So if you're gonna have her leave, having it be where her real personality was hidden behind, and the fact they gave her that last scene with Ivanova, um, she really sold it. Maybe it was a little mustache twirly, but even with that, uh, I feel like her being like, "Well, the gig is up, the jig is up. I'm just gonna lay it out here because there's no point hiding anymore." Um, I think it was good. I think just the demarcation where she was like, "No, you thought you were growing a friendship with her. You weren't. That was me. I saw the usefulness in her getting close to you, and I whispered in her ear the words to say so y'all would become friends. The betrayal you're feeling right now, I relish in that feeling because I'm finally
Mm.
free. I'm finally not having to hide who I am. The core is mother, the core is father, and I couldn't even begin to care less about the lives of you normies. Like, very well done. Uh, Beyond that, I enjoy getting to see some more of the romance between Sheridan and um, Dylan.
Who?
Yeah, I know. When I use right names, it throws people off. But yeah, him and Dylan, I appreciate the way they're building this up. Uh, I'm interested to see where it goes. It's one of those things where I don't want it to be a will they, won't they, which is very classic, very very classic, sort of TV trope. But at the same time, I do want to have a long time for them to really act on the emotions that are clearly there. I don't want it to be this whole, oh, we're together, oh, we're not. But I am hoping that it's something where it's there, it's in the background, it's growing, it's developing. She's figuring out who she is as this hybrid between the two worlds. And I hope that at some point, many moons from now, we get to see that truly develop into a real relationship. Kind of like what we saw with Samantha Carter and O'Neill.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, they chose just to be friends because they put the priority of work forced. Sorry, I channeled Bird there for a moment. Went New Yorker first, but there's a great scene in one of the episodes where they suspect it was a traitor episode. They suspected there was a traitor, and they specifically thought Samantha and Jack were traitors because there was something that they were hiding from this memory scanning thing. It's a clip show, and it turned out what they were hiding was this moment when something was about to blow up. Jack couldn't get to Carter, and there was a moment left unsaid of how they loved each other, and they didn't say it. But the fact that they were hiding that was what was setting the machine off. And they confessed at that moment, like there was something that we felt that wasn't appropriate, or it wasn't inappropriate, but we couldn't have it, and that's what it's sensing. And like the machine like turns the green color, everything's okay now. So, but it was a perfect moment for them to stay friends at that point. So I hope that we get that same sort of progression where everyone else is fully aware of it, but they're not really confessing it, and then we get this moment where they confess, and now they get to take things to the next level. Because I'm a romantic sap like that.
Well, it
That's my
seems
thoughts for
like
the
they
episode.
were not nice thoughts. It does seem like they're having a high school romance almost.
Yeah.
She's springing down, the walkway, springing her step, and he's got a smile on his face, and yeah. And I think they're taking it slowly. I think that's a good thing.
I am interested to see, and I hope. I mean, okay, knowing from what I've seen of JMS, we'll see this at some point. I'm interested to see how Garibaldi reacts in the episodes to come, because he had his own somewhat growing relationship with Talia.
Yeah. And the actors outside of the show, they got married.
Yeah.
So
For a while.
For a while, yes. And I think JMS kind of wrote some scenes for the two of them because he knew. But yeah, I agree with you. We got some lore answered with Ivanova.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who I am? We go back to Sheridan's dream. Oh, we find out who she is or what she's been hiding. So, in some ways, this is an Ivanova episode, although it doesn't seem like it on the surface. But you delve into it, I think you do get a lot about Ivanova in this story.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that, I've got a question for you, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, at any point in this episode, think Ivanova was the mole? Was Control?
Mm.
I mean, she did disappear from the bed at the time of the assassination. She didn't want to be given the password.
Like I said, like right before they scanned her, I mentioned how it would be odd, but I didn't really consider it like I entertained it, but I didn't think too much of her being the mole. They certainly tried to put that up there at the last second. Um, I wasn't overly convinced.
Okay.
The fact that the dad that the fact that we knew for a fact from other outside sources that her brother had died, it caused her to go into the army. We saw her relationship with her dad. Um, her mom being a telepath and being treated the way she was, and it coming from multiple sources, it made it. I don't know. There's too much going on there. The old saying that you have a secret that's too big to hide. I felt like we were in that territory. Like you can't have all of this going on. If it turned out where she was the mole, I was going to be impressed by the level of effort the Psi Corps had gone into making her seem like not the mole.
Okay. Well, let's delve into the show a little bit. So we get Lita Alexander coming back in this episode from the pilot. Mm-hmm. We had another character in the pilot that left after the pilot, and that was Commander Takashima. Remember her?
Takashima.
She was the second in command before Ivanova came on.
Yeah, and we also had the doctor.
That's true too. Now Takashima, in the original plan of the show, was supposed to be the mole, not Talia. And she was supposed to be the one that shot Garibaldi when he was trying to warn everybody about the president.
Oh.
And we weren't supposed to see who shot him until this incident here.
Huh, okay. So originally it was going to be Ivanova.
Well, no, because when they brought on Ivanova, there were no plans to just place her in that role of being the mole. But so they wrote it for Talia, and then you have that scene where she's with Kosh and the VCR, the vicar, and she doesn't understand what's going on between the two. And she has those visions, and she asks Kosh about it, and he says it's reflection for the future. He, the vicar, was recording Talia's real personality, and it was supposed to be implanted back into her after this. So when they introduced the Talia character, she was supposed to be the mole all along, and there was a plan to bring back her original personality after she was exposed as the mole with the recording that the vicar had made.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
so Talia wasn't supposed to leave at all, but the actress Andrea Thompson, I think, or Thompson, she felt that she was not getting enough to do on the show, and she wanted out.
I mean, it's been a minute since we've seen her, to be fair.
So yeah, Omni's right. Kosh knew all along that Talia was a mole, was the plan, the control.
So I think I followed you in all that. That while Ivanova's character replaced the other second in command,
Takashima. Laurel, I think, was her name.
It's not that she did a one-to-one replacement of the character. She was written as a unique character from that moment.
Yes.
Okay.
And so was Talia. She wasn't a one-for-one for Lita.
Which worked out quite well in today's episode.
It did. And yes, Max LT 120 Super VHS. You got it, Omni. VCR.
And Texas, the reason why Kosh decides not to restore her is because someone recorded over the VHS. They forgot to pop the protection tab out.
Could be. You never know.
It's rough. We've all been there, the series finale of Dallas, and it turned out someone recorded, a Dragon Ball Z episode, the same one that we've seen 1,000 times, the Frieza arc. Ugh. Yeah, you're gonna scotch tape over the protection thing anyway.
Just looking over my notes real quick.
I mean, it's a good question why in universe they didn't do it, but outside universe in real life, with Talia's character leaving, the actress leaving, and not necessarily wanting to come back, and that's why they didn't restore her.
Now it's interesting. We know what happened to Lita after she left Babylon 5 after seeing Kosh, and Dr. Kyle also saw Kosh. What happened to him? We haven't heard anything with what really happened to him.
Maybe we'll see him at some point.
Maybe. Time will tell. It always does.
Not boom today, boom tomorrow.
You got it.
Yeah, he was recalled to Earth, but I mean, as soon as Lita mentioned, like, oh yeah, I've been, the doctor and we were both recalled to Earth a few weeks later. Like that's some red flag language to me.
Why was he recalled, Omni?
And if you know, don't tell me.
Now we know the real world reason. The actor was in poor health and he couldn't continue. So, but yeah, this was a must see, I think. for the lore, for the continuing storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you tune in after this, you're going, where's Talia? Why isn't Talia on the show anymore?
Now, I was listening at the part where Garibaldi was doing his flashback about the conversation between Talia and Kosh. And even, like, if you hadn't explained it to me, that dialogue made no sense to me whatsoever. About it being, I needed it just a little bit more spoon-fed to me than they gave me, I'll be honest. So I'm glad you gave me the answer to that one.
Yeah, they didn't explicitly explain it in the episode. But in the Usenets, which JMS was active in, and he has been active with the fans, for the last 30 years, he explained it in the Usenets back in the day.
And that is, one of the things that it's intentionally designed to be obtuse, and you're not supposed to catch it. And so they're referencing it now to be like, hey guys, we had this plan for a while, but if it had happened later on the way maybe they had meant it to happen, I think they would have been able to explain a little bit more of, like, instead of just being like, hey, here are some random words from Kosh. By the way, they mean that he was recording your personality so we could give it back to you. I think I got that right.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah. So
amazingly,
they could explain
you got it right.
More. Yeah.
No, you did get it right. And we did have the reference to Garibaldi's aide that shot him in this episode too, which is kind of a callback to this whole switcheroo with the different characters because of actors leaving.
Very cool.
Yeah. So good episode.
It was. I liked it. It was fun. Pretty important to the series on the whole. And I look forward to seeing if Lita is back next week or if they're going to give her some time off, because we're going to have some psychic on here. I'm curious to see if it's going to be Lita or if the station will get some other.
Maybe it'll be Buster or is that Buster? Excuse me.
Maybe Buster's going to show up. That'd really ramp the episode up or the series up some, raise the stakes. No, so it makes sense for Lita to be the person and this to be her reintroduction back into this series. It could be just that they're using a familiar character to springboard someone new for next week. So I do look forward to see who's going to kind of fill the role of the resident telepath. Buster Kincaid. Kincaid. Isn't that Earth Final Conflict? Something Kincaid? I want to say that was Earth Final Conflict, another one of Gene Roddenberry's sci-fi series.
Oh, it's a Star Trek reference.
Oh. Who's Kincaid in Trek?
Played by Harry Kim.
Harry Kim played Kincaid?
Yes, to his Captain Proton.
Huh. Okay, to be fair, Liam Kincaid is the main character from Earth Final Conflict.
Well, Buster Kincaid was the sidekick of Captain Proton on the holodeck.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Matthew's not a true fan of Voyager. If I was, I'm sure I would have finished overanalyzing or overthinking my Voyager series. So I can't argue with that. I'm not a true fan, clearly.
Yes, John.
Hey, I think we should be impressed that I remembered a character's name, even if it was from the wrong Gene Roddenberry series. So next week, we are 3 episodes away from
3.
the season finale. And next week is going to be season 2, episode 20, The Long Twilight Struggle. And specifically, it is the long comma twilight struggle. So if
Indeed.
you're an English person, you realize that long and twilight are both being used to describe struggle because of the comma.
Indeed.
Commas are important. I gotta have them in the right spot. So my prediction for what the long twilight struggle is going to be about. What was the name? What was the title given to this season?
Coming of the Shadows.
Was it Coming of the Shadows or the Coming of Shadows? Okay. I asked because I feel like the long comma, interesting punctuation choice. No, thank you, John. I think that it's based on the series or the season name with this idea of the shadows and the drawing of the night that the Twilight struggle is playing into that idea that season 1, the universe, even though it was troubled, we were kind of on a good trajectory. We saw people leaning toward peace, and then we had the decision moment where people chose wrong and we went toward darkness. And now ever since then, darkness has been coming. And so talking about the long twilight struggle, this is the kind of like the Churchill quote about we will not go quietly into that good night. We'll rage against the dying of the night. It's the struggle against the coming darkness. So the long twilight struggle. I got some motifs, but I don't have a plot yet. Who would we focusing on? Who would be fighting the longest against the darkness, the most consistently? Kosh would, but his character is more mystique than directly confrontational. And in fact, we found out that he has to hide in the shadows. If anyone ever found out that he was there, it would spell the end of the universe, basically. So he cannot reveal himself.
That's right, positive. Kefir saves the day.
Yeah, Kefir's going to save the day. Don't worry, I'll get there.
Speaking of Kosh, going back to this episode.
Yeah.
When Lita talks to him at the end, we see the reflection in her eyes. We also hear the flapping again. Did you notice that?
I did, but I didn't think of it as flapping. Like I didn't make
what
that
did you
connection.
think of it? What did you think it was?
I just didn't make the connection. Like as soon as someone called it flapping, I'm like, oh, of course it was flapping. I just heard it as a generic sound choice.
Oh, I like it, John. The long twilight struggle refers to how everything goes to pieces during Kefir's week off.
And Thomas was the "We Won't Go Quietly into the Night" from President Whitmore. Maybe we all know me and names. President Whitmore. Hold on. Who are you talking about? Was it? No. Okay. I'm like, wait, there is no president named Whitmore in America. No, that's Independence Day. We will not go quietly into the night. I want to say that was a Churchill speech. No, it was a poem by Welsh poet Dylan Thomas. Oh, it's Thomas.
Hey, how about that?
It may have been quoted by.
It was used in the movie Interstellar. Ever seen that movie?
Anyway, I'm not going to get too distracted. So I think that we're going to see Jakar next week, talking about the people who've been doing the most struggling against the drawing of the night. Really, that is Jakar. He's been working the hardest from the very first instance of this season. He's been trying to stop this. He's been undermined at every turn by Londo. We saw the concessions he was willing to make, and keeping his own people from getting retribution, because he thought that by allying with the humans he'd be able to get strong support. And we had a beautiful scene with him weeping, but being the diplomat even that situation, and thanking them for what small help he was getting, even though he saw it as really just delaying the death of his people and not saving them. So I think the long Twilight struggle, it's really Jakar. Jakar's been struggling the most. So I think that next week we're going to be focusing on him, and just the ongoing difficulties that he is facing, and how he is trying to maneuver politically to help his own people, and at the same time fight against these shadow creatures that he's been trying to warn people. Like I think he's going to be increasingly aware of their presence, and we're going to see how he's been trying to fight against it. And he's basically has this war on two fronts: a physical war with the Centauri, and a spiritual war, or at least what he would consider a spiritual war with the shadow people. So and how that's going to be kind of weighing on him. So and then Kiefer will show up, give him some sage, spiritual, and political advice, and save the day. That's my prediction.
Sounds like a great episode. I can't wait to see it.
So guys, thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week at the Hour of Scampering. Y'all take care.
Take care, all. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will, and be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.